The massive observation deck of the Zorian scout vessel hummed with an eerie silence. Captain Krelax watched the holographic display, his tentacle-like appendages twitching with a mixture of boredom and mild irritation. Another routine stellar mapping mission had brought them to a seemingly insignificant star system. Earth J. Park gripped the control panel of the human diplomatic vessel, the Horizon 7, his fingers dancing across the quantum adaptive interface. Behind him, a diverse crew of specialists monitored various systems, each one representing humanity's best and brightest. The ship itself was a marvel of engineering, its sleek titanium carbon hull bristling with adaptive sensor arrays and experimental propulsion technology. "Incoming transmission," announced Yuna Kim, the ship's communication specialist. Her voice was steady, but a subtle excitement sparked in her eyes. This was humanity's first official deep space encounter with an advanced alien civilization. The Zorian vessel was massive, a crystalline structure that seemed to defy traditional spacecraft design. Its surface shifted and shimmered, revealing intricate energy networks that pulsed with an almost living quality. Compared to the angular human vessel, the alien ship looked like a living organism suspended in the endless darkness of space. Krelax studied the human vessel with a mixture of curiosity and barely concealed contempt. Zorian scanners had categorized Earth as a developing civilization, primitive, limited, and utterly predictable. Their initial data suggested humans were technologically infantile, trapped on a single planet, with minimal understanding of interstellar dynamics. But something felt different about this encounter. The human ship moved with an unexpected grace. Its movements weren't calculated or rigid, they were fluid, almost intuitive. Where Zorian navigation relied on complex computational algorithms, the human vessel seemed to navigate through a combination of advanced technology and something more unpredictable. "Preparing first contact protocols," Jay announced, his voice calm and professional. Around him, the crew moved with synchronized precision. No panic, no overwhelming excitement, just focused preparation. Suddenly, a series of unexpected energy signatures began dancing across the communication arrays. The Zorian ship was attempting multiple simultaneous communication channels, a standard procedure designed to overwhelm and analyze potential new species. Yuna's fingers moved faster than Krelax's advanced sensory equipment could track. She wasn't just receiving the transmission, she was simultaneously analyzing, filtering, and responding across multiple quantum communication bandwidths. The Zorian captain leaned forward, his sensory tendrils quivering with unexpected interest. Inside, the human vessel, holographic displays erupted with complex data patterns. Advanced translation algorithms worked in milliseconds, converting alien linguistic structures into comprehensible human language. But it wasn't just translation. The system was learning, adapting, creating contextual understanding in real time. "Establishing primary communication channel," Jay said, his voice carrying a hint of confident calm that seemed to radiate through the ship's systems. The initial transmission was nothing short of remarkable, where most developing civilizations would respond. With fear, confusion, or aggressive posturing, the humans presented a meticulously prepared communication package. Cultural insights, scientific achievements, diplomatic intentions, all packaged with a precision that suggested careful, collaborative thinking. Krelax felt something he hadn't experienced in decades of galactic exploration, genuine surprise. The status in the human vessel's design itself was a statement, compact yet powerful, technologically advanced yet not ostentatiously complex. Every system seemed designed with a purpose, every component working in harmonious synchronization. As the initial communication protocols continued, something extraordinary happened. The human team wasn't just responding, they were actively engaging, asking sophisticated questions, demonstrating an intellectual curiosity that defied the Zorians' initial categorization. Quantum communication channels buzzed with an energy that seemed almost alive. Data streams transformed from simple information exchanges into complex, evolving conversations. The humans weren't just communicating, they were establishing a dynamic, interactive dialogue. J. Park smiled slightly, the first subtle indication that this encounter was going to be anything but ordinary. Little did Captain Krelax know that this moment would become a pivotal point in galactic history, the day an allegedly primitive species would begin to challenge everything the Zorian Confederation thought they understood about intelligent life. First contact was never going to be the same again. End of Part 1. The Galactic Council chambers were unlike anything humans had ever seen. Massive crystalline structures suspended in a gravitational field, with representatives from hundreds of alien civilizations seated in a circular arrangement that defied traditional spatial understanding. Sue Kim stepped forward, her presence radiating a quiet confidence that seemed to momentarily pause the constant background hum of alien communication devices. She was dressed in a sleek adaptive suit that subtly shifted colors based on the chamber's ambient energy, a small demonstration of human technological innovation. Behind her, a holographic display materialized, not the rigid mechanical projection the alien delegates expected, but a dynamic living representation of human achievement. It wasn't just a presentation, it was a story of survival, adaptation, and relentless innovation. The first image showed Earth's transformation, massive climate restoration projects, vertical urban ecosystems, and renewable energy networks that had transformed a planet once on the brink of environmental collapse. Where other civilizations might have given up, humans had reimagined their entire existence. Alien delegates leaned forward, their multifaceted eyes capturing every nuanced detail. The Kreltarian representative, known for their hyper-analytical nature, began rapidly processing the visual data, his neural implants working overtime to comprehend the human approach. Adaptation is not just a strategy, Sue began, her voice clear and measured. It's our fundamental survival mechanism. The hologram shifted, revealing humanity's medical breakthroughs, nano-regenerative technologies that could repair cellular damage, genetic therapies that had effectively eliminated most terminal diseases, and modular prosthetics that integrated seamlessly with human biology. A collective murmur rippled through the alien delegates. These weren't just technological achievements. They were fundamental reimaginings of biological limitations. The presentation continued, revealing humanity's approach to space exploration. Unlike most civilizations that relied on massive, resource-intensive spacecraft, humans had developed compact, adaptable exploration vessels. Each ship was essentially a living system, capable of self-repair, quantum-level navigation, and real-time environmental adaptation. Hyun Lee, seated among the delegation, controlled the holographic interface with subtle neural commands. His interactions were so smooth that many alien delegates initially believed the presentation was running on advanced automated systems. Suddenly, the display transformed. It wasn't just showing human achievements, it was demonstrating the collaborative process behind those achievements. Teams from different backgrounds, cultures, and disciplines working together, breaking traditional hierarchical structures. The Zorian representatives exchanged confused glances. Their civilization operated on strict computational logic and predetermined social structures. The human approach seemed chaotic, unpredictable, yet undeniably effective. Sue highlighted humanity's recent deep space exploration missions. With limited resources and technology compared to other galactic civilizations, humans had successfully launched missions that challenged fundamental understanding of interstellar travel. A holographic representation showed a small human probe navigating through an asteroid field that had destroyed multiple advanced alien exploration vessels. The human craft didn't just navigate, it learned, adapted, and discovered new pathways. In real time, the Galactic Council's standard communication protocols seemed primitive compared to the dynamic living presentation. Where most civilizations presented static data, humans were telling a story of continuous evolution. As the presentation reached its climax, Sue revealed humanity's most profound achievement, their ability to transform challenges into opportunities. Climate crisis, technological limitations, social divisions, each challenge had been met not with resistance but with collaborative innovation. The chamber fell into a stunned silence. The Kreltarian representative's neural implants were visibly overloading, struggling to process the comprehensive data presentation. J. Park, sitting among the delegation, allowed himself a subtle smile. This wasn't just a presentation, it was a declaration. Humanity wasn't asking for acceptance. They were demonstrating their inevitable integration into the galactic community. As Sue concluded, the holographic display dissolved into a complex, living network of human achievements, each connection representing a story of innovation, resilience, and unexpected potential. The Galactic Council would never be the same again. End of Part 2. The research facility hummed with an electric anticipation. Hyun-Lee stood before a holographic display, his fingers dancing across quantum interfaces that seemed to breathe with living energy. Surrounding him, a team of international researchers represented humanity's most brilliant minds, each one a living testament to collaborative innovation. Outside the facility's transparent walls, the landscape blended cutting-edge technology with natural ecosystems. Adaptive solar collectors mimicked leaf structures, while quantum communication arrays rose like metallic trees against the horizon. What the alien civilizations didn't understand was humanity's unique approach to technological development. Where most species approached innovation through rigid, linear progression, humans saw technology as a living, adaptive organism. Hyun's breakthrough in quantum entanglement communication was about to change everything. The Zorian communication networks, once considered the most advanced in the galaxy, relied on massive infrastructure. Enormous relay stations, complex computational systems, and energy-intensive transmission protocols that consumed entire planetary resources. Humans had a different vision. The quantum communication device looked deceptively simple, a compact module, no larger than a human hand. Its surface shimmered with adaptive nanomaterials that could reconfigure themselves instantaneously. Traditional alien scientists would have dismissed it as primitive, but this was anything but ordinary. Initializing. Quantum Resonance Protocol, Hyun announced, his voice calm despite the magnitude of the moment. The device activated. Instantly, multiple communication channels erupted across different dimensional frequencies. Where alien systems required massive computational power to manage a single high-bandwidth channel, this human device was simultaneously communicating across multiple quantum states. Alien communication specialists watching the transmission began experiencing something unprecedented: total system confusion. The quantum module didn't just transmit information. It learned, adapted, and evolved with each transmission. It could predict communication interference, autocorrect transmission errors, and create entirely new communication pathways in milliseconds. Representatives from the Galactic Communication Consortium watched in stunned silence. Their most advanced systems would take decades to achieve what this small human device was doing in real time. Nearby, robotic assistance units moved with a fluidity that challenged existing technological understanding. These weren't just machines. They were adaptive systems that could learn, predict, and collaborate with human operators in ways no previous civilization had achieved. A holographic display tracked the communication module's performance. Traditional metrics became meaningless. The device was generating communication protocols that existing scientific models couldn't even comprehend. J. Park, monitoring the experiment remotely, allowed himself a subtle smile. This wasn't just a technological breakthrough, it was a fundamental reimagining of communication itself. The quantum module began interfacing with existing galactic communication networks. Instead of causing disruption, it started optimizing them. Transmission inefficiencies that had existed for centuries were being resolved in moments. Alien technological experts watching the transmission began experiencing a collective sense of professional vertigo. Their understanding of communication, technology was being systematically dismantled by a device that looked almost disappointingly simple. What made human technology unique was its organic approach. Where alien civilizations saw technology as a separate entity, humans integrated it seamlessly into their evolutionary process. Each innovation wasn't just a tool, it was an extension of human potential. The quantum communication module continued its silent revolution. Communication channels that previously required massive energy expenditure were now being managed with minimal resources. Transmission speeds increased exponentially, while energy consumption dropped by nearly 90%. As the demonstration concluded, the room erupted in a mixture of excitement and disbelief. The Zorian communication specialists looked like they had witnessed something fundamentally impossible. Hyun-Lee stepped back, allowing the data to speak for itself. No dramatic speeches, no excessive celebration, just pure transformative innovation. The galactic technological landscape would never be the same again. Humanity had just rewritten the rules of communication technology. End of Part 3. The Crimson. Swarm appeared without warning, a massive biomechanical collective that had already consumed 3 advanced civilizations in the outer galactic rim. Massive organic metal hybrid vessels moved like a living plague, consuming entire planetary systems with terrifying efficiency. Wu Choi stood in the human strategic command center, his eyes reflecting holographic battle simulations that danced with impossible complexity. Around him, a diverse team of specialists from every conceivable background worked with synchronized precision. The alien military commanders had already predicted total defeat. The Crimson Swarm's adaptive technology seemed invincible. Each attack made their defensive systems stronger. Each battle increased their technological understanding. Traditional warfare strategies became obsolete within moments of engagement, but humans weren't traditional. "We're not going to fight their war," Wu announced quietly. "We're going to completely redefine the concept of conflict." The first human response defied every known military strategy. Instead of massive weapon systems or direct confrontation, they deployed a network of quantum adaptive communication drones. These weren't weapons in the traditional sense. They were living information systems designed to infiltrate and manipulate. The Crimson Swarm's primary strength was its collective intelligence, a massive neural network that learned and adapted during combat. Normally, this would make them nearly unbeatable. Each attack made them stronger. Each defensive strategy was instantly analyzed and countered. Humans introduced something completely unexpected: psychological warfare at a quantum information level. The communication drones began transmitting complex, algorithmic patterns that looked like standard communication signals, but they were far more sophisticated. Each transmission contained subtle psychological manipulation sequences designed to create confusion within the swarm's collective consciousness. Imagine a living computer system suddenly experiencing doubt, uncertainty, internal contradiction. The swarm's massive vessels began experiencing inexplicable system failures. Navigation protocols became confused. Communication channels started, generating conflicting instructions. What seemed like simple technical glitches were actually carefully designed psychological attacks. Alien military strategists watched in absolute disbelief. Wu's team had essentially turned information itself into a weapon. They weren't destroying the swarm's physical infrastructure. They were systematically dismantling its collective psychological framework. Holographic displays showed the swarm's massive vessels beginning to lose synchronized movement. Sections started moving independently, creating internal conflicts that rapidly spread across their entire collective network. The human approach wasn't about destruction. It was about creating such profound internal confusion that the collective would essentially destroy itself. Adaptive AI systems, developed through years of complex psychological and technological research, continued generating increasingly complex manipulation sequences. Each transmission was a masterpiece of algorithmic complexity, part communication, part psychological warfare, part technological intervention. The Crimson Swarm's massive vessels started experiencing what could only be described as a collective existential crisis. Their unified consciousness began fragmenting, with different sections developing contradictory operational protocols. What made this approach uniquely human was its combination of technological innovation and deep psychological understanding. Humans didn't just see technology as a tool, they saw it as an extension of human creativity and adaptability. Within hours, the swarm that had consumed entire civilizations was experiencing complete systemic collapse. Not through massive weapon systems, but through carefully designed information sequences that exploited fundamental weaknesses in their collective consciousness. Alien military commanders watched the transformation in stunned silence. This wasn't just a victory. It was a complete reimagining of conflict resolution. As the last swarm vessels began disintegrating, Wu Choi allowed himself a subtle smile. Humanity had just demonstrated that the most powerful weapon wasn't physical destruction, but the ability to understand and manipulate complex systems. The galaxy would never view warfare the same way again. End of Part 4. The Galactic Council Chamber trembled with an electric tension that defied traditional diplomatic protocols. Captain Krelak stood at the central platform, his multi-tentacled form vibrating with a mixture of awe, confusion, and something remarkably close to respect. Centuries of galactic governance had established rigid frameworks of understanding. Species were categorized, measured, and predictably evaluated. Humanity had just systematically dismantled every single one of those frameworks. Distinguished representatives, Krelax began, his universal translator struggling to capture the complexity of his emotional state. What we have witnessed challenges everything we understand about evolutionary potential. Holographic displays surrounded the chamber, replaying humanity's extraordinary journey, from a planet on the brink of environmental collapse to a civilization that had not just survived, but fundamentally reimagined survival itself. The alien. Delegates represented civilizations thousands of years older than humanity. Technological giants who had explored countless star systems, developed advanced computational networks, and believed they understood the fundamental laws of civilizational development. Humans had just proven them catastrophically wrong. Each holographic segment told a different story of human innovation. Climate restoration projects that transformed dying ecosystems, medical technologies that redefined biological limitations, communication systems that made existing galactic networks look primitive. And then there was the unprecedented defeat of the Crimson Swarm, a collective that had consumed entire civilizations, neutralized through psychological innovation rather than traditional warfare. The Zorian representatives' neural networks were literally overloading, attempting to process the comprehensive data. Where most species would have been destroyed by systemic challenges, humans had transformed each obstacle into an opportunity for unprecedented growth. They don't just adapt, one alien delegate whispered. They fundamentally reimagine possibility itself. J. Park and his diplomatic team stood with a calm confidence that was itself a statement. No dramatic gestures, no excessive celebration. Just a quiet understanding of the transformative moment they were experiencing. The holographic displays continued their narrative. Quantum communication technologies that revolutionized information exchange. Adaptive AI systems that learned and evolved with unprecedented speed. Collaborative problem-solving approaches that defied traditional hierarchical structures. What made humans unique wasn't just their technological achievements. It was their ability to see potential where others saw limitations. Their willingness to challenge existing frameworks, to question fundamental assumptions, and to approach challenges with a combination of creativity and systematic thinking. Krelax's speech became a moment of historical significance. Humans are not just another species, he declared, his voice resonating across multiple communication frequencies. They are a fundamental disruption to everything we understand about technological and social evolution. The chamber fell into a stunned silence. Generations of alien civilizations had developed complex theories about species development, linear progression, predictable technological pathways, specific evolutionary constraints that seemed immutable. Humans had just demonstrated that those theories were nothing more than limited perspectives. The diplomatic team didn't celebrate. They didn't need to. Their very presence was a statement, a quiet demonstration of a civilization that saw potential where others saw boundaries. Adaptive technologies continued dancing across holographic displays, communication networks that learned and evolved, medical technologies that transformed biological understanding, environmental restoration projects that reimagined humanity's relationship with their planetary ecosystem. As the presentation concluded, something fundamental had changed. The Galactic Council was no longer looking at humanity as a developing species to be categorized and managed. They were witnessing the emergence of a civilization that would fundamentally reshape galactic understanding. Krelax looked at the human delegation, not with condescension, but with a newfound respect. Humanity wasn't asking for acceptance. They were demonstrating their inevitable integration into the broader galactic community. The paradigm had shifted. Permanently. End of Part 5.